World Championship battle. Will it be the devil? El Diablo here, conquering grueling heat. From pole position by Ducati's Pecco Bagnaia. Fabio Quartararo away well too on the factory MR.
Quartararo and Bagnaia into turn one. Zarco less so. He didn't get such a good launch.
Dreamt of the perfect launch off the line. Got up the inside of Bagnaia. Toughed it out on the brakes into first. Fundamentally key in this 30-lap race. Quartararo then from Bagnaia and the latest
shot here down to turn 12, but he is not close enough to make an early move on Fabio Quartararo. Up the inside of Luca Marini. He's up into P7.
Classic move, trail braking into final corner, then from inch perfect here. Oh, Bagnaia did get through, but coming through was aggressive in front.
A real statement of intent from Fabio Quartararo. The door was open. Pecco Bagnaia was not going to give this up without a fight.
Yeah, and he'll be wary as well, of course, with that medium rear tyre. And this is the start, really pushed too hard for fear of that rear tyre deteriorating pretty dramatically underneath him. Whoa, curve. The spectacular blind entry, turn 11. Ivan Neal stuff from Zarco. He's on the podium.
Picked off Fabio Di Gianantonio. Jack Miller had also passed him earlier on in that lap. You can see
Ducati up the inside of fellow Ducati rider Marini into first corner for 8th place. Back at the front then of the shoulder cam of the world champion. This was Bagnaia into turn 1 a couple of laps ago on the inside advantage we've seen so far in this Grand Prix. Bagnaia at the moment to slip 4 tenths behind.
But he can manage it in the closing stages, particularly if he's got a sizable advantage. Quicker than his chasing Ducati rival Bagnaia.
He's already trying to make a key break here, just like wiped out in controversial circumstance in Barcelona 2 weeks ago by Takanaka Bagnaia. He fluffed his lines again. That is going to be a 4th DNF to winning the title this year. Mia's gone down as well.
Well, they're saying an incident at turn 1, but Pecco Bagnaia, is he a little bit wide? He is a tad wide. He tries to bring around. It's a long way around the corner.
That's from underneath him. Just with that lead angle, maybe just that hard rear tyre. Can't take your eyes off this German Grand Prix. We're only on lap number 5, and we've lost. The factory announced they were leaving MotoGP at the end of 2022. Alex didn't even make the start of this, but drama in the extreme here in Germany because Pecco Bagnaia, for the 4th time behind Fabio Quartararo, going to Assen in 7 days' time. Not even Bagnaia, for the last 18 months between Fabio Quartararo and Pecco Bagnaia in particular.
He won that early battle on the brakes with Bagnaia into turn 1 on the second front. We saw Paul Espargaro have a off-throttle high side through the rear. This is on board with Bagnaia.
Just him there, gently starting to feed the power back in through turn number 1. He was well way round the corners. Lewis mentioned that's quite an unusual crash. Most deflating Sunday of his season so far, and he's had a few of those as well. Bagnaia then now
1.8, of course. Do not forget in the closing stages of this Grand Prix that Quartararo is one of in the closing stages, because Zarco, don't forget, along with Aleix Espargaro in 3rd, are on the harder rear option.
Mistakes too often, unfortunately, does Pecco Bagnaia to pose a threat to Fabio Quartararo in the World Championship. Oh, that's that crash there. 3rd gear, building speed as you start the climb towards turns 9 and in the Sachsenring with that mercurial Marc Marquez. Their lone representation now in this Grand Prix.
But what a good race Maverick Vinales is having at the moment, running in 4th position. He's told us all year, but they're dropping behind him with a long lap penalty, and Vinales is catching his championship challenging.
Yellow flags are out in sector 3. Then Maverick Vinales, of course, what a difference a year makes. It was right, it was saved by Aprilia. Of course, after the Sachsenring, we went straight to Assen, where Maverick Vinales gave him the career lifeline, fighting for podiums again in the MotoGP World Championship. Belief coursing through the veins of Fabio Quartararo right now, on course for back-to-back wins, back-to-back.
Matching the times of the guys in front of him, right in front and right behind. And
then starts lap number 10. 3rd race distance here then in Germany. 30-lap run in FP4 yesterday.
Yeah, the race pace is already starting to drop off a little bit. There's a battle for 22s. Quartararo and Zarco matching each other for pace on the last lap in the 22.0.
Will it be hanging in there for those crucial final laps? Then Fabio Quartararo, Aleix Espargaro then 1.6 seconds further back. His prime mission at the moment, or really Aprilia, where they've got 2 men fighting for a place in MotoGP. Many of high-profile names have been sniffing around that Aprilia ride. Back in the present though, Aleix Espargaro.
Quartararo's clear at the front, clear enough from John Zarco, but Zarco is also gaps that he might well be a threat in the closing stage of this Grand Prix, although remember, he is also on that medium.
Vinales with those packed grandstands in the background there as they drop down the hill through the 2nd place, isn't he? MotoGP's perennial bridesmaid Zarco. 19th place. It's been a horror show for our triple winner so far this season, Bastianini. He's
empty track in front of him, and he'll hope to have empty track ahead of him for the next 18 laps of this Grand Prix. Mid-30s air temperature. That is a real test on the concentration of the reigning world champion, but he's...
Marc Marquez is accustomed to leading the race, the king of the ring. 11 his teammate Aleix Espargaro. He's got to be wary though, of course, of that ballooning front tyre temperature, and the Maverick Vinales may well encounter right now, right in the slipstream with no clip.
For the pace of Zarco or Quartararo up ahead of him. Jack Miller has now taken fifth with Miguel Oliveira, teammate to Binder on the factory KTMs, completing the top 10. KTM, of course, once again.
If he's going to make a move on Aleix Espargaro, it's going to have to be inch perfect and clean, because he will not, with his teammate Aleix Espargaro, will be picking up 16 precious World Championship points, sweating away. It's a grueler, this one. The hottest conditions we've had of the weekend so far. Absolutely nowhere. A check on Morbidelli again, he's down in 14th place. He's just taken to
his attention. Those last 2 laps from Johan Zarco will have definitely done it. Zarco closed the gap down to 1.2 seconds.
In 1 lap.
Yeah, Miller on the charge then, on the factory Ducati. Different challenge after the fast and flying Mugello and Barcelona. Top speeds here as high as the rear, tapping the power back in the early stages. Bagnaia already out of this Grand Prix.
This to go clear of his teammate. Understandably, he's not putting a chancy one than the Aprilians.
This is on board then with Pol Espargaro, looking back to Joan Mir, who was just there for Suzuki technical director Ken Kawauchi in the background there. Livio Supo of the season. Now then, with Quartararo for the first time, 2 seconds or nearly 2 seconds clear for the 17th time. We just wonder now, having had that clear track to get in a little behind him.
Yeah, we've got a trio of Ducatis battling for 6th position at the moment. Gian Antonio Zarco's challenge looks to have been settled down for now, but this, as you say, is Espargaro, who crashed in free practice 4 into turn 13, and under the yellow flags, Jack Miller had a crash. Position has gone. Is that the extent of the damage?
Yeah, he might have lost the front end there, going nearly a full calendar year after his last Yamaha rostrum in Assen 12 months ago. By the standing start, but he still increases his advantage over Zarco. There is a thoroughly Ducati slipping out of his control down the hill into the first corner. He's absolutely livid. Fabio Quartararo at the moment cruising to another victory.
Vinales has got a problem, Matt. He's now down to Vinales on the previous lap. It's continuing to halt the Aprilia man. He's now down to 10th.
He's then dropping through the Waldman curve. When he had that moment into turn number 8, technical problem. I'm just trying to identify there is Jack Miller then dropping down into turn 4. Yeah,
Simon Crayford confirming to us down.
Yeah, there you
look
go.
at him having a good look at the rear of the bike.
I thought I could see him as he got this, then get stuck on for Maverick Vinales. That engage coming through turn number 8 is pretty forced. Vinales can do about that. These rear ride-height devices have made these high-tech modes. That's cost Maverick Vinales a podium here in Germany.
Yeah, we saw Brad Binder have a problem not too dissimilar. Jack Miller chasing a podium finish. Miller hasn't been on the podium since the French Grand Prix, and return to form for Jack Miller on a weekend where he's been making the headlines, of course. He's on the move to him in this final 10 laps. Can Aleix Espargaro hold on? Yeah,
potentially here. Aleix damage with Quartararo cleared. This is a really good battle further back for 5th place.
Enea Bastianini has now moved himself up into 10th position. You can just see in the background there.
Binder, he's not scared to get the gloves off. Likewise, Jorge Martin. Those two famous with the final third of this Grand Prix. The phase of the Grand Prix where we expect there to be a significant... Can 2022 get any worse for Honda and HRC?
That failed on Maverick's bike, but the one that Aleix runs...
Observation as always, no question, a major tech malfunction has denied Maverick Vinales. Taka Nakagami having a 3rd big tumble of the weekend through the high-speed turn number 8. Now Pol Espargaro behind Fabio Quartararo, so he's lost nearly a second a lap to the runaway race lead. Of course, was the man second to Marc Marquez here 12 months ago. Been a pretty punishing weekend for him.
Of this Grand Prix, Jack Miller now back into the 122s, and Marini wanting...
The final 5 laps here for Jack Miller. That's a couple of raids he's had on Aleix Espargaro.
He is closing in. As I say, there was the lap before where he was half second quicker, then 4 tenths came.
Turns 8 and 9, they drop down to the Waldman curve, 5th gear. Nearly 200 kilometres did for the 2nd time in 2 weeks. He's running away with this World Championship as well, isn't he, right now? So absolutely electric. A mid-122 from the Muni VR46 race.
Roberto confirmed that it was physical. His ribs, the reason for stopping.
Yeah, thanks for that update then, Simon. It's painful to ride that Honda right now. Podium contention firmly in the hands of these two men. Aleix Espargaro, Marini that's coming late on with a charge here for the podium.
Yeah, Marini once again.
Massimo Rivola sees potentially a podium finish. Gone 8 and 9. You could just see he's got no stability on the throttle through that fast seat at the end of 2022. He said he wasn't going to let his head get down, he wasn't going to get dejected.
Fabio Quartararo crosses the line. Miller then will lead Aleix Espargaro over the line. He's got a comfortable look at the moment in the 122s as Aleix Espargaro falls back into the clutches of Luca Marini, expecting the final lap and a half.
This is a top ride by the Aussie Jack Miller, isn't it? The coating, he's fought his way back, a brilliant recovery, potentially to take a podium finish, having been operating on a completely different level. There's going to be 20 side of Pecca Bagnaia into first corner. Bagnaia again buckled on the French one too in MotoGP, with Johan Zarco set to make it yet.
Ahead of him, Miller's got half a second in his pocket over Aleix Espargaro. That spurt.
Ring stunner here from Fabio Quartararo, the world champion. Pick up the stacks ring. Johan Zarco takes his 10th second place in the MotoGP to salvage his 7th place ahead of Fabio Di Giannantonio, Oliveira and Bastianini. Let's hear the post-race thoughts, the immediate reaction of, I'm sure, delighted